In a Seattle hospital, Samantha and Will discover their baby will be a boy. Later, before heading to the airport, Will tells Samantha that he will ask her father for permission to marry her. In Chicago, Will attends some business meetings before visiting Samantha's parents, Paula and Tom. They welcome him into their home, but the atmosphere is clearly tense. During dinner, Tom says he heard that Will and Samantha are thinking of living together and asked for assurances about the future. Tom wants to know if, in the event they break up, Will not claim the money he sends to help his daughter. Will responds that he has a good job and they don't need his money, which leads to an argument. Paula tries to calm them both down without success, so she ends the evening by saying it's late and asks Will to leave before the fight worsens. The next morning, Will is awakened by a video call from Samantha and realizes he's late for his flight. She wants to talk about what happened with her parents, but the call is interrupted by strange noises. Samantha explains the power went out and says something is wrong, even admitting she's scared. The screen begins to glitch and the call gets cut off. Will tries to call back, but can't get through. On his way to the airport, he keeps trying to communicate, but she doesn't answer. When he tries to board the plane, he is surprised to find that all flights have been canceled. The news reports major seismic events on the southern coast of California until contact with the Los Angeles studio is lost. Soon, a bulletin reports power and telecommunications failures throughout the entire western region of the country. Suddenly, the screens at the airport start to fail and the lights go out as well. He leaves the building and sees people panicking everywhere, so he pays a taxi driver extra to take him back to the city. On the way, he keeps calling Samantha, but still with no success. Shortly after, he returns to Paula's house and has to go up the stairs since the elevator is not working. He tells Samantha's parents about the last conversation he had with her, while noticing fighter jets flying over the city. The couple is packing, and Tom explains that he will go look for Samantha, while Paula will go to their other son's house. Will agrees to accompany him. When they get to the street, the car gets stuck in terrible traffic as everyone is trying to flee. The GPS and cell phones are not working, and people are looting supermarkets for food and fuel. The pair stops at a supermarket and Tom goes inside to get supplies while Will fills a gas can. A woman approaches him to flirt, and when he rejects her, her friends come to defend her. Just as they are about to break the car windows, Tom shouts for them to stop. He pretends he's going to give them money, but as soon as he gets to the car, he pulls out a gun and points it at them until they walk away. As they drive off, Will complains that Tom didn't tell him he was armed. Tom replies that it was thanks to the gun that they weren't robbed. On the highway, the traffic is even worse, and the army is blocking the road. Tom gets out to talk to the soldiers and explains the situation until they take pity on him and let him pass. Shortly after, they see trains heading west carrying a lot of military equipment, which further increases their concern about what might be happening. At night, a police patrol forces them to stop. Will gets out to talk to the officer, but Tom immediately realizes he's not a real agent and yells at his friend to get back. When the stranger tries to shoot, Tom reverses the car to scare him and ends up hitting the patrol car. Will quickly gets into the vehicle and they flee while the fake cop fails to catch them. As the man chases them in the patrol car, Tom orders Will to load the gun. The fake officer rams the back of their car and Tom has to regain control of the wheel. When the man pulls his car alongside theirs, Will misses his shot, and Tom has to explain how to properly load the weapon. The cars continue to collide until Will finally fires, but without success. Spotting an abandoned car on the road, Tom swerves his vehicle, causing the other to crash into the parked car, managing to lose him. Shortly after, some deer appear on the road, and Tom makes a sharp turn, causing the car to go down a hill and crash into a tree. This allows the fake cop to approach and point his gun at Will, ordering him to get out. However, Tom attacks him from behind and hits him several times until he is unconscious, then informs Will that he has broken his ribs. Next, they both get into the patrol car and use it to tow Tom's car. The next day, they arrive at an RV park where all the residents are suspicious of them. In the workshop, they meet Ricky, who agrees to repair the car. On the radio, reporters explain that all communications have failed except for shortwave radios and local amateur radio systems. The government is silent, and no one knows what is happening as cries for help mix with the news. They notice that birds are flying in strange patterns in the sky. When he goes to the bathroom, Tom observes a large, painful bruise on his body. Then, Ricky says she can do a temporary repair, but the car will break down again on the road. Upon learning that she was planning to go to California, Tom proposes a deal. He will pay her to accompany them so she gets closer to her destination and can fix the car when it stops. After some hesitation, Ricky accepts but asks for more money. Before leaving, they load the vehicle with Ricky's tools. At night, they notice a car following them, so they pull over and turn off their lights. When the other car passes, they follow it, using its taillights as a guide. When Ricky checks her compass, she notices the needle is spinning wildly. Suddenly, another car appears in their lane, so Will has to swerve quickly, and the new vehicle crashes into the one they were following, sending both off the road. Will checks one of the cars but finds no survivors. Ricky checks the other and finds a dead woman. Her husband tries to say something but can't, as he is clearly dying. When Ricky and Will say they should take him to a hospital, Tom refuses, claiming it's too far and the man would die on the way. Tom and Will return to the car, but Ricky stands there looking at the bodies. Soon, another vehicle stops nearby, and some suspicious-looking men get out. Tom, distrustful, accelerates to flee, but Will convinces him to pick up Ricky before leaving. As they drive away, Tom explains that he only picked her up because Will asked him to. Ricky is offended and says she won't fix the car again, so Tom deliberately jerks the car, causing her to hit her face on the seat. Later, when they stop for fuel, Ricky and Will notice that the clouds are behaving strangely. Suddenly, a lightning bolt strikes a pole, and a huge storm begins. Tom has difficulty driving, as it's hard to see even with the headlights on. They decide to wait under a bridge until the rain passes. The next day, the journey continues with better weather. When they pass a radio tower, the car radio picks up a signal. The reporter says there is still no internet or cell signal, and no news from the government. A few miles further, the trio finds the road blocked by local residents and their vehicles. The sheriff is suspicious of them but lets them pass when Will mentions several names he knows in the town. Then, Will stops to visit his friend Meg, who says she hasn't heard from her husband since he left on a business trip before the incident. Will takes the opportunity to shower, Ricky maintains the car, and Tom fills the water bottles. Meg ends up having an emotional breakdown, thinking her husband won't return. Will tries to comfort her and promises that everything will be okay, but says he must continue on his way. Then, the trio returns to the road. A column of smoke nearby catches their attention, and they discover a crashed military plane. Ricky wonders if it was shot down. Sometime later, they arrive at a water park. They decide to look for provisions. Ricky jumps into the pool hoping to swim, but the water is very hot. After seeing a military helicopter fly by, they begin their search. There is no money in the cash register and all the cars have their tires slashed, but they at least manage to fill their gas cans. Tom has difficulty carrying them because of his injury, and Will has to help him. At night, as they pass an antenna, all the cell phones begin to vibrate. Tom receives a voicemail. It's from Samantha saying she loves him, but the audio is full of static and ends before she can say more. When Tom tries to call Paula, he can't get through. Suddenly, they see a line of people walking on the road coughing. There is smoke in the distance, and as they get closer, they discover that the entire area is on fire. Ricky thinks they should go back, but Will says it's the only option. As they cross the area, smoke and ash surround the car. Will brakes when he sees a woman in the middle of the road, and she says she has a flat tire. Ricky and Will want to help her, but armed men emerge from hiding. They had forced the woman to act as bait. The bandits try to steal their fuel, and Will tries to fight one of them, but is easily knocked down with a few punches. When Tom tries to grab his gun, he feels pain in his broken ribs and falls to the ground. After forcing Ricky to fill their tank, the bandits leave, stealing all the gas cans. The trio gets back in the car, and Will invites the woman to go with them, but she prefers to stay with her unconscious husband. A chase begins amidst the smoke, and the bandits open fire, so Will responds by ramming their car with his. Tom keeps coughing and can barely move, so he hands the gun to Ricky. After a few missed shots, she hits the men's tires, causing their car to flip. When the bandits' car lands upside down, Ricky runs to retrieve the cans, but one of the men refuses to let them go. There is a struggle until she finally manages to grab one, and Will shouts at her to run because he has seen a fuel leak. Fortunately, they are far away when the car explodes. Moments later, Ricky asks Will to stop the car. She gets out, runs, and has a breakdown upon realizing she has killed the men. Tom and Will remind her that she saved them, but they still leave her alone for a while. When the sun comes up, Ricky has not yet returned. Will calls for her, but there is no answer. and he realizes her things are gone too. Tom admits they shouldn't have asked her to come with them. As they continue their journey, Tom starts to cough up blood. They stop when they find a place with wrecked cars and a derailed train. Will goes out to look for fuel. Upon returning, he finds Tom unable to breathe as his lungs are collapsing. To relieve the pressure, Will inserts a needle into his chest, which helps Tom breathe again. After getting back on the road, Tom asks Will to promise to take good care of Samantha. They grow closer, talking about their families, and finally, Tom admits that Will is a good man. He says he knows Samantha is pregnant and that Will be a good father. At night, they cross a bridge full of abandoned cars. When the road is blocked by an armed group, Will explains that his friend needs medical attention. The threatening group orders him to drive forward, but Will realizes it's a trap and starts to reverse. Two men on a motorcycle chase him as he turns the car around and fires at the attackers. He then performs sharp maneuvers until the bikers fall. They manage to advance, but a truck still blocks the path. Tom fires, while Will swerves the car, causing the truck to fall on its side and allowing them to cross the bridge and finally escape. Unfortunately, the effort is too much for Tom, who dies in the back seat. Moments later, Will stops the car and looks at the body, wondering what to do. He decides to continue the journey, but the car breaks down in the middle of the road as night falls. After screaming in frustration, Will covers the car and Tom's body with fuel and sets them on fire in a final farewell. The next day, Will continues on foot as several drivers pass without stopping, until finally, a car stops and a family agrees to give him a ride, but the man demands that Will hand over his gun first. During the trip, they try to use the radio but get nothing. Moments later, they arrive at Will's father's house. There, he tells the family they can stay. After sleeping for a few hours to rest, Will tells them they can keep all the supplies in exchange for the car, and the man agrees. Before leaving, Will retrieves his gun. The next day, Will finds a city in ruins but keeps going. He finally arrives in Seattle, where ash is falling from the sky. There are many abandoned cars, and he enters a fire truck to take a gas mask. Then, Will continues on foot, noticing bodies inside the vehicles. Looking towards a city, he sees smoke rising from most of the buildings. He crosses the streets, dodging the destroyed cars until he reaches his building. He climbs the fire escape, enters his apartment through a window, and discovers that half of the building has collapsed. On a wall, there is a message from Samantha with an address where to find her. So, Will drives as fast as he can to that location. Jeremiah greets him with a gun, but Samantha stops him and runs to reunite with her boyfriend. Once they calm down, Will tells her what happened with her father, saying he wouldn't have survived without him. That night, Will is awakened by a loud bang. He goes out to investigate and sees the northern lights in the sky. Samantha and Jeremiah are drinking by a campfire, so he joins them. They explain how the city was affected. According to them, there was a supposed earthquake, and the police evacuated everyone at the last second. However, Jeremiah doesn't believe it was an earthquake. He thinks it was a nuclear bomb that hit the coast and a virus that took down the grid before anyone could understand what was happening. Will doesn't believe it, and Jeremiah makes him even more uncomfortable by asking to see his gun in private. Samantha assures Will that she doesn't believe the bomb story either. The couple ends up having an intimate moment. Later, Will goes to the bathroom and sees Jeremiah inspecting his car. The next morning, Jeremiah apologizes for what he said the night before, claiming he was drunk. Will confronts him about the car, and Jeremiah says he saw two kids trying to steal things. Supposedly, the kids ran into the woods, so they both go out to look for them but only find deer. Will then tells Jeremiah that he and Samantha are leaving. He proposes that Jeremiah accompany them, but he replies that Samantha wants to stay. He then turns with his gun ready to shoot, but Will is faster and shoots first. A huge, dark cloud approaches with terrifying speed, so Will runs to get Samantha and they both escape in the car. The cloud tears through the area with force as the couple speeds down the road, hoping to survive the chase.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.